Firstly, we are glad to have Ms. Vandana Tolani here. She is a renowned speaker and a leading investment banker and helping startups to raise funds successfully across the world. She has a rich experience of over 20 years and helped across sectors many startups in raising funds successfully. Her diverse experience is helping various startups and helping her in a achieve a great repute. So here we have her today to discuss successes and failures in fundraising. Fundraising has always been the most exciting part whenever we discuss businesses. Whenever we read a funding news, it gives us a kick that we also want to start something and raise money. As glamorous as it looks, it is very technical topic and very sensitive in terms of helping companies grow. So over to you, Anna, to discuss more about the successes and failures in fundraising.
So, first of all, would like to thank Pranjal and Paras and the entire team of Startup Grind for having me here once again. And, thank you for the wonderful introduction. And I'm very grateful to you that all of you have made time on Saturday to come and attend this success and failures in fundraising. Like Paras introduced, I would also like to give some additional information, which is a recent development in my career. I was in Singapore and Jakarta for 15 years in investment banking. I had my own family office fund there. This is my seventh year back in India. I did investments, then I went back to advisory. So currently I'm connected with 300 investors globally, and I do pick up global deals. We are sector agnostic. Typically we do $1 million to $25 million. And apart from fundraising, we make pitch decks, financial models, we give business advisory, and we also help funds, raise funds for their VC funds. This month, I'm nominated as the top 10 women leaders in 2021 in wealth management. I have given over 155 talks all over the world. And this is a small intro about me. So, coming to the topic, success and failures in fundraising. I would like to answer the questions which Paras and Pranjal would be asking, and also from the audience as to why fundraising round fails. What is it that goes wrong, and what is it that we need to rectify as to get successful and get the right kind of investments? So I would hand over now to Paras and Pranjal.
So,
Yeah.
I'll rather start with the thing like what is it or what are the components to make a startup funding successful? Like what all do you need to make a complete round of funding? What is the time does it that it takes? What are the intricacies?
So the thing is, the very first start is to have a proper pitch deck made by a professional, as investors don't spend more than 90 seconds on a deck. It is very important to get a pitch deck done by a professional as per the market standards. That is the first and foremost important thing when we start, going to the investors to start our fund, to raise investments for our startup. We also need a video pitch deck. A video pitch deck is very important because investors don't spend more than 90 seconds on a deck, and with a video pitch deck they get a clarity about as who is the founder, what is the product like, what is it that they are asking funds for, and it is like a trend in the market to have a video pitch deck nowadays. Also, in a startup, having a complementary team, a marketing team, an operations team, a financial team, a technical team that complements each other. really works well to get success in a when we are asking for a fundraise. Not only that, the investors do look at the background of the founder, as to what is the background, how strong the founder has a drive to run his business, where is he from a very strong background that he has come into raise funds, and what is the disruptive technology that the founder is building, like, and what problem they are trying to solve, and whether it will either it has revenues or it will get some revenues in the near future, because it is also the investors hard earned money that is going into the system. Naturally he wants to see that what is he betting at, and whether it's going to multiply or no. Hence it is very important that we pitch ourselves and present ourselves in the right manner. It's like, if we are going to buy a dairy milk chocolate, it is wrapped really nicely, there is some ads around it, and we feel, oh, it's really presentable, and hence we buy it. The marketing is done in the right manner. Similarly, the startup is selling themselves to the investor. So the investor is buying it. So one needs to present themselves and position and market themselves in the right manner as to how to get the investments done. I think these basic things are really important, which gives one success.
What is the right time for me to go and raise funds for my startup? Is it should I go pre-revenue before even I have started making any money? Should I be having a certain number of users for my product, or does it vary from business to business? Or do I need to have some kind of IP, or do I need to belong to IIT or IIM to get a funding? So, or to have someone of such a quality in the team. So what are the components? What are the good things to have when I want to raise funds for my company, for building my business? And what kind of businesses really do not need funds? Because as far as I believe, the services companies makes money. It's generally the product companies where the long-term gestation is involved, where the maximum amount of money is needed to build the product initially. So where exactly should I raise the money, and what are the components that are needed?
So very good question, Paras, and happy to answer this. So the thing is, firstly, let's pick up the hot sectors which are happening now. It is fintech, it is agri-tech, it is edu-tech, it is health tech, food tech, deep tech, AI, robotics, and any disruptive technology that is solving a larger problem. Like when the second wave hit us, why were we so disorganized in having the right kind of things, wherein we had already created good apps, pharmacy apps, we had already some of the good technologies as per the last year's experience when COVID hit us. So I think what kind of these are the kind of technologies which are hot at present, and the investor would bet in these technologies. One is that. Second thing is, when you start to say for instance you have just an idea, you need to make a proper business plan, get the idea vetted by a proper mentor, a proper investment banker, somebody who has knowledge about it. And in case, I have also seen founders, they have the money, okay, but they don't know how to utilize it. In that case, it is important to have a CFO in your company, have an advisor in your company who can manage your money and not let it burn and guide you as to how you can get your investments and towards your business plan, so that you don't burn it entirely in marketing, or burn it entirely in building up the technology, or entirely burn it in building up the product, for instance, or the website, and so on and so forth. So I think these steps are important. Whether how much to ask in a funding round, it depends from startup to startup. I believe that in the beginning, the founder should self-fund the company with his own money to realize that what it takes for the investor also to put in the money. And then once you have bootstrapped a bit, you could ask for small amounts depending on the revenue that you have, and then ask for large amounts. Recently, I've had companies with zero revenue. They are into life sciences, but they are asking for 15 million. Now, definitely the investor will not invest in such companies. Why? Because they don't have any revenue. They have a solution for cancer, but they're asking for 15 million. And they feel 2 million is too less or 1 million is too less. So I had to tell them, look, this will not work out. So, these kind of things that the founders have in mind needs to be corrected. It's also very important to have a financial model and valuation in place so that you understand what are the next steps. Otherwise what founders do is, I don't know how they calculate it. They come up with figures which are unreasonable, and when they present that to the investor, straight away it goes with a backfall. So I think this is what it takes. There is no exact figure as to one needs to ask for this much or that much, but you can, if you are prepared with all these things, you can easily ask for a 50 lakhs to begin with, between 25 to 50 lakhs, and it is easily available. If you are doing things in the right manner, there's enough capital and investors are investing.
If I have to raise 25 to 50 lakhs, I'm assuming that this is an angel investment.
Of course.
So what is the expectation of an angel investor? How much X return does an angel investor want? Is it 5X, 10X? Or what kind of scalability is he really looking for? Suppose I want to start a regular shop or regular something, a regular restaurant. Will the investor be interested in the same way a large technology company gets funded? If for an angel investor, what is his ask really?
So also it depends from angel investor to angel investor as to what they ask for. So typically, if it's a celebrity, they ask for something above 25%. Between 25 to 30%. Some angel investors also ask for 50%. If it's a VC or an early stage fund, they only take between 10 to 15%. They are highly professional people. They come with themselves a marketing team, a technology team, a network. So whenever a company comes to me, I always first suggest them to go with VCs and early stage investors and early stage funds rather than angels, because angels it depends totally from angel to angel. What is it they want in the company? They can go from 25% to 30% to 50%. And to check the background of the angel investor also, it's pretty tough, wherein VCs are all over the place on Google. Now, I have got a few funding done with Sukhbir Singh, the celebrity in Canada. That's a singer. So he's a decent investor. Then there are some cricketers that invest. So they are decent investors. But they don't know anything about investment. So we have to guide them as to everything. But at some point, they also ask for an unreasonable amount, which is, not acceptable. So hence, it's very, very important to have a professional investment banker in the middle, because they have relationships with these fund MDs, with the angels, with the HNIs. Now, if you might understand that investments is all a game of having the right kind of relationships. If you have the right kind of relationships, you can easily get the investment. So initially, when COVID had not hit us, what used to happen is that we used to go for these dinner meets, breakfast meets, tea meets, and build relationships and, wine and dine with the investors and get things done. But now, because the COVID has hit us and because we investment bankers have been in the market for 20 years, we are carrying forward that relationship with us. So if you have that kind of relationship, say your uncle is from a very good corporate background and he wants to invest in your company, as an angel investor, it's totally fine. I had an angel investor call me the other day and said, look, I want to invest 30 lakhs in a company. Can you help me? I don't know the next process. I just have the money. So then I had to guide him with the term sheet, with the, how to go about it, etc. So there are investors like these also.
About sharing up to 25 to 30% or even 50%. So as per the MCA guidelines, at 25%, the other party has the ownership stakes and the board
Yeah,
seat in the
yeah,
company.
yeah.
So how much okay it is to give somebody such a control over the company when he can, through his votes, he can affect the major decisions in the company at the very start of it. I suppose I have a really good technology. My product is really good, and tomorrow or and after a year or 3 years down the line, my valuation is gonna hit probably $1 billion. So why do I share a 25% stake, let's say for 50 lakhs or 25 lakhs? So how does that work, or how should I negotiate on that one?
Yeah. So, say for instance, see if the angel investor is from your own network, your relative, friend, or one of your colleagues you are known. So it will be easy for you to negotiate on your own because you know the person, and if he is already knows about what he is doing, he'll help you out, of course, and you can get your own lawyer or an investment banker to negotiate the same. But say, for instance, you have been introduced by somebody else and you don't know what he wants and how to negotiate, or you just get a term sheet from somewhere. Then the thing is, then you can go to an investment banker and say, look, I'm putting you in the middle, you help me negotiate this and bring it to the same page. So the investment banker will have the idea as to what is the market trend. Is he asking for something reasonable or no? I had this somebody texted me on LinkedIn, and they had got a term sheet from USA, and he asked me to just have a look at the term sheet because there was an underwriting charge of 56 lakhs. So when I looked at it and I did my due diligence, which just took me 1 hour, I told him, don't sign this term sheet because nobody takes a underwriting charge of 56 lakhs in advance before when they present a term sheet. So he got saved from a scam. So things like that happen. So to avoid these things, you better go to somebody who has the knowledge about it and show it. And of course, if you have a lawyer in your startup, it is works well. If you don't have, you can go to an investment banker. If you are with a VC fund, they already are very, very organized and structured. Angels don't know anything, so they just do anything around it. So there are ways to negotiate it, but you need to do it also in the right manner. Of course, if they will take a board seat, angels do take that and stuff like that. So you have to be ready for all that risk when you are doing angel investment, and how much of the risk you want to take. And if it's a known person, if it's your own family, if it's your own relative or friend, then it's really easy. But if not, then of course you'll have to take a call there.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
many venture capitalists, many angel investors, and sometimes many other investors who are not be of very good quality or maybe are the kind of black sheeps in the market may have the intent of maybe acquiring the company or acquiring the control over the company. So how I, as a startup who is newbie in the market, saves myself from such things or such things from happening, or how should I not end up in a very pressing financial situation?
When a VC asks for 10 to 15%, some decisions have to be made with them. Like, say, for instance, you have to give some salaries. Say, for instance, they want to know why are you giving the CTO so much salary, or why is it that you're spending. So that explanation you have to give to a VC also. When it comes to angel investor, naturally, because they have put a larger money, some explanations you'll have to give as to why you're using the money, what you're doing. Some angel investors are very sweet. They just want to put the money like that celebrity, and they know that you know how to run your show. They just have the timely meetings, and with that, they know what's happening in the company. But some might want to take an extra charge. They come as a strategic tie-up. They will want you to pivot. They'll want you to change. So at any given point in time, if the term sheet is not as per your will, you don't need to sign it. You get it, if you really want the investments, get it negotiated, bring them on the same page, then sign it, or just leave it. Like, don't let yourself get bullied just because you want the money. Better than you bootstrap a bit more and then go for a better investor. So you could always take the term sheet, but as a startup, you have the right to deny it. As a startup, you have a right to, make sure that you are not being bullied. And if you have no idea as to what to do, show it to somebody, show it to an advisor, show it to your CFO, show it to an investment banker. Look, this term sheet has come. Should I sign it or no? Or is it okay to go ahead with this? So that's
Successfully raised my funds. So what are the next steps? What happens after it? Is it like I got a direct credit in my bank account and I can do whatever with it? Or is it does it comes in trenches? Or
yeah.
what really happens? What is the process of due diligence? How do I sign the term sheet? What are the intricacies?
So there were two founders, Paras. One bought a car with the money and one treated cancer. So that is really, really not acceptable. Can you buy a car with the investor's money? No, it is not for your personal use. Basically, it is not for blowing it up. The investor has also, it's his hard earned money, which he's putting into your system because he believes in you. It's like, say, for instance, you have a child. You give the child 1,000 rupees. And every time the child keeps asking for the 1,000 rupees, at some point you'll ask the child, look, what did you do with it? If you bought books, pencils, you use it for transport or use it for chocolates, it's fair enough. The parent wants to make sure that it's not being used for anything else, right? Similarly, the investor is not giving the money to burn it. The investor is giving the money to utilize this in the right manner. So, please don't use the investor's money to treat cancer or to buy a car. Once you get the investor's money, whatever you had mentioned in your deck, the usage of the funds is, use it for that. And take advice. So, and don't suddenly just burn it, like burn 6 crores in 1 minute, or like I have to do this after that. Like, use it wisely so that you have it over a certain period of time, and your show can also run. There will be families associated with you, their show can also run. Marketing is also done, technology is also done, bootstrapping is also happening, and it's showing that the money is multiplying. I think then that should be the next. If you're taking the money and then you don't know what to do with it, then take advice of somebody who can manage your money. Like, say, for instance, that person used it for buying a car. If he didn't know how to manage the money, he could have given it to charge to the CFO. Like, look, I don't know how to manage this. Now, can you guide me as to what I should do with it? Give it to somebody who is good in managing money. So I think that is a thing, because see, everybody will not be good at everything. Some people are not good at managing money. You might understand. Some people are used to burning money. Some people are used to wasting money. Some people make wrong moves. It's better to take somebody's advice who has donkey years of experience in it, and then take a call. It always works well.
So, what are the intricacies of due diligence and term sheet? Like, how much time does it take for due diligence? What are the components of due diligence, and what does there in the term sheet?
The entire funding round is of a 3 months period. 2 months takes for term sheet to bring out. That also depends on who's bringing it out. Either it's the investment banker or you're doing it yourself. Then 2 weeks takes for due diligence, and 2 weeks takes for fund hitting your accounts. That's the maximum it happens. Now, in due diligence, what we do is we give a list of documents to the founder way in advance so that the founder can compile those documents and keep it ready. That saves him from entire 2 weeks of compiling the documents when they receive the term sheet, because the fund gives their own set of documents for due diligence, but there's a standard list that we give it to everybody. That is important. Now, in one case, what had happened was that the founder, we had given him the list, he had submitted his documents. There was something that came wrong in his DD, and we asked him to change. We got information and we said, look, if you change this, the term sheet is there, the fund will hit your account. But he didn't change it. So this went on and on for about 1.5 years until when all the fund guys backed out. So it was his loss. So those things should be avoided, I feel. And do your, make sure that you are passing in your due diligence. And then it doesn't take more than 2 weeks for due diligence and 2 weeks for fund hitting your accounts. If it is done in the right and proper manner, and if we are doing it in the correct manner. See, somewhere you could be missing documents that you can always arrange. If there's anything that comes out wrong, you can fix that. You get a chance to do that. But even then, if you don't do, then nobody can really do anything about it.
So, thank you, and thank you, Paras, for asking question. I would allow, if it is possible, if it is okay, that Rohit and Mrinal could come and ask their question directly. Before I allow them to be on the presenter mode, I would just to reflect back on the point which you have mentioned. So this is interesting to know in the sense that in the second wave, as you mentioned, there are applications for the pharmacy and around the health tech, but still those were not. I think if you on those points that we already were tech ready, but how have those tech readiness helped us moving forward with the pandemic, or able to cope up the pandemic? And what are the new things which has forced the tech companies to change their direction now, which will also affect the fundraising? And to just reflect back on the second point, as you mentioned that before the COVID, the investors, the investment bankers used to meet the startup founders, but now that is not possible. But there are these virtual meetings to which still the social connect and the social context is still missing. So the first point would be good to know how the pandemic has changed the startup founders to look their business model and how that funding is affecting now.
See, the thing is that when Paytm, when demonetization had hit us, what had happened that time, many of us didn't know how to use Paytm. I can tell you, I also didn't know how to use Paytm. I only started using it after demonetization hit us. I knew about Paytm, I had heard about it, but I never bothered to use it. Only when I was forced to use it, then I started using it. And then now we see vegetable vendor, everybody is, milkman, every second person is using digital payments, QR codes. We don't need to carry cash. We can just manage with our Google Pay, right? Or Phone Pay or other stuff that is there, all the digital payment. Similarly, when the pandemic hit us, we knew about Zoom, but we never bothered to use Zoom. We thought, oh, who's going to use Zoom for meetings? Oh, it's like this, it's like that. But when the pandemic hit us, we actually got forced to use platforms like Zoom, AirMeet, StreamYard, and all these other new platforms, MS Teams that came in. I think school teachers started learning how to use Zoom. It was so sad that CBSE teachers were having really difficult time as to how to operate Zoom. And only when the pandemic hit us, we were forced to go digital, use these platforms, which made our work easier. Like, for instance, I'm a mother of 2 kids. Initially, I was running on the field and doing meetings, going from place to place. I could only finish 5 meetings in a day. Now, sitting on one chair with these platforms, I can do 10 to 16 meetings in a day, also manage my home, also in, deals. I have last year closed 4 deals sitting on this chair. So I'm just telling you, because I decided that, look, now I cannot go out, so I have to do it this way. So I also changed the lookout. Now, I think the startups should now go totally digital. Like, make your LinkedIn really, really appropriate as per the standards, and keep it well, keep your website properly ready, keep your Facebook, WhatsApp story, all this used for business. Go totally digital. Come to these webinars, ask questions, go on other online webinars to learn things. So I think this will keep you updated with everything. And what was your other question? That technology deals, whether they are happening or not. Yes, technology deals are happening, but I don't know how the founders are presenting themselves. I have judged many online shows wherein the founders were not introducing themselves. They were dressed up very casually, and they made it look very casual. They didn't want to tell what are they exactly looking for into investments, and so many other things. So I think there's a lot of grooming is required for of the founder as to how to present, what to do, what next, and then we should take them to the investors when they are investor ready. So there are a lot of different technologies that have come. There is a elderly care platform that I'm working on. There's a cancer, don't have to go through chemotherapies, stem cells thing that I'm doing. So there are many things that have happened that will help cure lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cancer. Elderly care is more efficient now at the press of a button. So there's, these different kind of technologies have come in. The only thing is that, the second wave, we lost many people because of having lack of oxygen, lack of all these things. But when I started using that, that oximeter, I realized that, that was a very good device to have, which was created, that oximeter, which we were putting on our fingers and testing how much oxygen is there in the body and all. So these kind of things were really doing well. But, had it been, if we had been more efficient, way in advance with all the technologies and everything and been ready, then I think we would not fail, have so many people die and lose our near and dear ones, and have to go through so much which we went through during COVID. So I think that was really sad. And now let's gear up for the third wave and the fourth wave. But my only suggestion is that we need to stay home, indoors, wash our hands regularly. Indians don't have habit of washing hands. We only learned washing hands when COVID hit us the first time. Wear the mask, carry sanitizers always, have your vitamins on time before you go anywhere. Take your vaccination. I have already taken my vaccination. So I think take all these precautions and do things carefully. Like, don't just start partying around, go in crowds and, start like really meeting people. Do it slowly.
Thank you, Vandana, for your advice. So one of the things to add on to the larger, so most of the founders might not know what to ask and what to raise funds, and that's where your expertise and your experience comes very handy for them to really understand where they would need the money. At this present, their business might be running good. They should always be ready for the coming future, and that's where the times are very uncertain. Hence, it's difficult from the perspective what to think about. And because you are dealing with a number of startups, so you are seeing and you could predict and you could speculate in the right direction where the startup founder should think about. And that's where your expertise comes into the picture. We have with us one of the audience, and we would love for her to switch on the video. Otherwise, audio is fine as per, and would love to first explain her background and the question next.
Yeah, sure.
Hello, everyone. This is Mrinal this side. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. Hi, Vandana. So my question is, It was quite an interesting, insights that you have shared so far. But I just wanted to know what is the typical logic that you follow do the valuation of a company. And whenever any application comes to you, is there any particular logic that you follow to come up with the right valuation of the company? Is it like it's going to be a multiple of EBITDA, PAT, or the annual turnover that you consider to do the valuation? What is the logic behind this? Because we keep hearing about various news when companies not having a good unit economics still end up raising such a large fund, right? And there would be a lot of service-based companies who will be following a unit economics, but still they don't manage to get a good valuation. So somewhere I personally feel that there is a bias towards that product-based companies. Of course, could be because of the market size and all. But in general, what is a formula that you as an investor would follow to come up with the right valuation for any company? So this is my question.
And can you also give a little bit of your background?
Sure. Okay. Actually, my name is Pranal, and I run a company called as Navriti Technologies. It's headquartered in Bangalore, and we also have a presence in Delhi. And we are into the field of providing skill assessment services. So largely, it's a B2B business. We deal mostly with the governments and government bodies, state government bodies, and we also have a private exposure to the private business also. So that's broadly what I'm into.
So the thing is, Mrinal, what happens is that founders are at a very big mistake. What they do is they want to do everything themselves. They go and do the valuation, themselves and come up with figures, which I don't know how they came up with. So we have, people in our team who are experts in this. Then we have to look at a lot of things. We have to look at the pitch deck. We have to look at the company. We have to look at a certain amount of revenues. We have to look what is going on. And then we could calculate this, the valuation. And usually what we calculate is always accurate. Hence, I always recommend the founders that, get your valuation done by a professional, because, you might not be an expert in everything. One is that. So again, part of investments also depends on the kind of relationships you have. I can tell you, there was this founder with a very, very strong background. He had put his own 2 crores into the cloud-based platform that he was developing. Before that, he had 2 big companies already, 500 crore revenue, and another one, a beverages company, and this was his 3rd company. Now, because he had self-funded, even because his technology was not yet launched, and because he had success of 2 previous startups, he got funded easily. And of course, when the time came for valuations, he got it done by professionals, and hence, he could be on the same page with the investors. What I tell founders is not to box themselves up by giving their valuation way beforehand to the investors. Once the investor gets interested, let the investor propose what they have to propose. Then you should, go ahead and negotiate and say, look, this is what we did and this is what we are offering, and can we come on the same page with the same number? So this is how it is done. Funding is happening all the time. There's a lot of capital, but it also depends on how the founders are presenting themselves. What is their background? What is the technology? Was it self-funded? Is there revenue? All these things the investor wants to look at. Hence, there are some failures, there are some successes. Unit metrics is, of course, important. And, if a fund is investing in a company without seeing the unit metrics, there must be a strong relationship there. And hence it is happening, so there are different factors as to what leads to what. There's no fixed formula here, kind of a thing. So if you want to get your valuations done, you could connect with me offline. I could help you with the same, but we do take charges for that. I want to announce it openly. There's no free service here. In case, you guys are thinking that, so that's the thing. So hope I've answered your question, Mrinal, and thank you for asking such a wonderful question.
Sure, Vandana. So just one small follow-up question. I wanted to seek your investor perspective on this. So any proposal comes to you, what are top 3 things that you look at? Is it the team? Is it the idea? Or is it like the turnover? Or just top 2-3 things which you look for any investee company probably?
Okay, so when somebody proposes a company to me, I first look at what is it, I look at their pitch deck. If they don't have the pitch deck, I do my due diligence on the founder. I check their LinkedIn profile. I check their background thoroughly before picking up the deal. I show the deal to 2 or 3 of my fund connects. When they say yes, only then I pick up the mandate. I personally look at the founder's background, the kind of technology they are bringing, and of course I do look for revenues. If it is not yet into a revenue company, but if they are promising in future that there'll be some revenue, so I do that. But when a company comes to me, before I get into the call, I do my due diligence properly. I find out everything about them, what they are doing, what is their background, So in one of my other talks, there was this gentleman who was continuously asking questions and saying all kinds of things. Post that, he tried to connect with me, and then he was forcing me to pick his deal, and I didn't want to pick his deal because I'd already done my due diligence. He had a lot of debts with different banks, and he had done some fraud activities in the banks. Definitely, I would not pick up such a deal. I'm a clean person. I pick up clean work. So I would definitely look into all that. I wouldn't favor a woman or a male. I would look into as to what the talent, what are they bringing on the table. Look, if you have the drive, if you have the right kind of thing that you're bringing on the table, if you're doing things in the right manner, nobody can stop you. So I will pick up that work. But if there is something, if I find out during the due diligence, naturally I will just say no to it. So that's the kind of thing.
Understood. Thanks for the response. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ms. Vandana, for this comment, and also to highlight that every deal, if you are picking up, that does not mean that you would be in a position to go forward, because you will do your own due diligence, your own norms, and you will always want to go start a founder, but it is not possible in every case because of n x number of reasons.
Of course.
Your attempt help the founder to grow, but we never know how the situation may turn out. In the chat, there are some discussion going around, but we cannot always say because of this reason it does not happen. There are many reasons around it, and we may address that later on. But as you have mentioned it very clearly, that's what we will go with forward. I would love to now bring in Atul Verma.
Sure.
Atul, if you wish to switch on your video.
Hello.
And then ask a question.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course. We can hear
Okay.
you.
Great. So a little bit about myself. My name is Atul Verma. I am a UX research consultant from Delhi. So I help companies with their UX process and research and support their research projects. So wanted to know about in case there are startups that do not have revenues or sales yet, but they have validated their business model by user interviews, talking with people, have some evidence that okay, their product would sell. So what do you think that how much weightage would that give in a pitch deck? Like you have told that there are several factors, there like background of the entrepreneurs, and how does so what do they do, how does their social media accounts look like, and there are several other factors. But what do you think? How much weightage would that be if they don't have revenue or sales yet, but uh, they have collected evidence that the customers would be, their potential customers would be interested in that. So what do you think? How much weightage would that be?
Like I mentioned, that there was a founder that had invested his own money, 2 crores, and because he had 2 successful startups, even though he had no revenue, even though his product was not launched, he got funded. So again, if your business model is already vetted and validated, and if you have proof of that, and you don't have revenues, but the investor sees that at some point there will be revenues. Of course, you can't show that all throughout there'll be no revenues and you will keep taking investors' money. I think that won't be acceptable. If your product or the business model or your stuff is validated, and you say like, look, right now I need this much money, and 6 months down the line, I have these many clients or customers that I want to service, which can happen only if the investments come in. If you show that, like some purchase orders or some connection wherein you can prove that point, of course, then you would get the investment. And for me, again, even if the thing is validated, if you have shown proof, I will again do some more due diligence on it before I get into it, because that's just me. I would like to check what is it that is you're building, what is it that you try to do, what are the different things that happen. And sales do happen if it is done in the right manner. I feel that everybody wants like founders keep saying we don't get investments, but they also don't want to work towards it. Like they don't want to pivot. If things are not working, they just want to wait for the investment to come. They don't want to work towards bootstrapping. There was a founder who didn't even want to make his website, when it's very simple to make their website on your own. Also, you can do it. We have Wix, we have so many other platforms. So I think all these things, like you
Right.
can't like completely, like you will not get fed all the time with the spoon, right? You have to do something on your own also. Like, are you doing the marketing in the right manner? uh, you know who is in your network? Are you tapping the right kind of audience to get your sales done? Who are the people in your network is very important. What founders do is they are reaching technology investors for a food deal, food investors for a technology deal, and agri investors for something else. So they are not checking the websites of the investors, where investors get 5,000 to 10,000 deals in a day. Where do you think they have the time to go through all this? Naturally, they will see a wrong deal is proposed, they will trash it.
Right.
So it's like that. And of course, investors have an upper hand because they have the money. Naturally, you have to work also towards what you are building, what you have built. If you have your own money to build the technology, go ahead and do it. Later on, while you are asking for investments. So how much you're working towards it also depends. It's not totally that, we get everything is not a bed of roses. One needs to work towards it.
Right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kalani.
No worries.
Paras, in the meantime, if you have a question, please go ahead. I will make another participant present.
Yeah, Paras was speaking earlier, but he was on mute for some reason before. So I think he wanted to ask something.
Paras, I think you are on mute.
There has been a bit of a
Yeah,
but
there's a technical issue.
I wanted to know of the personal successes in terms of investment that you have arranged or may help a startup to get it. What are the things that they did right? and so that the remaining startups here can take the cue from that and learn from it.
Sure. I have had, so last year during the lockdown, I closed 4 deals, a fintech, a health tech, an agri-tech, a deep tech, and a food tech also, 5 deals. Now, the reason why they got success was that, they also followed my advice in making the pitch deck in the right manner, getting their video pitch deck done, making their product video, presenting it to the investors in the right manner. They took my advice at lot many things, and they followed directions. They asked me before calls as to, what we need to say and things like that. And then, so I think, what founders do it, sometimes they don't want to listen to investment bankers. So I don't know why they hire us. They just want to do their own thing. So I had this founder in the gaming field, and basically I kept on telling him, look, you need to do this. He just didn't want to listen. He took calls of investors from the handphone, and I told him, look, you need to take it from the computer. You need to be dressed up formally, and you need to be at least presentable, like, so all that, and keep your video on, use your computer, share your pitch deck. Why is it that you've got the pitch deck made if you don't want to share? Make it interactive. Many founders just keep going on and on. So there was one founder who just kept going on, and because the technology was inside his home, he went around and showing everything, but he didn't let the investor speak. And the investor had already said, look, I have only 30 minutes. Make it so interactive that they get inquisitive, and they want to understand, how did you do this? How did you do that? Where did you get that from? Who's your client? How do you make money with this? So I have a chit fund deal, which is going on in fintech, where, the founders are from Bangalore. They make it so interactive that the investors really love them. And I've seen only half the time investors asking questions, and, they are just quiet. wherein other deals, I see the founder is just going on and on and on, and not, making it this thing. So, we have to, even whatever we want to put it across the tables, we have to present it in the right manner, put our perspective across, and respect each other, have the decency if there is difference of opinion, not to put anybody down during anything at all, whether it's calls, events, give respect. I think that's more important. And so when we do such things, I think we just outshine the thing, and we need to be compassionate. We need to have that empathy towards everybody, and understanding is not there. Tell me one thing, since childhood, how many of you are actually able to identify your skills? In Indian families, sorry to say, but we don't help people recognize their skills. Like, even when we are in companies, we don't help each other recognize their skills. How many of you actually, when you work in corporates, go and tell people, look, you have this skill, go ahead and do this. Maybe you have this skill and you just didn't know. Like, I have made people recognize their skills, and now they are really doing well. My skills got recognized because somebody pointed to me. I also didn't know. So I'm just saying that, start this chain of helping each other by, when you're talking to a friend or talking to somebody, look, I feel you have this skill. Do you want to utilize it to make money? Like, maybe that person will start thinking. And founders also need to pivot. They get fixed-headed. If something is not working, they want to just go die, become bankrupt, and just continue it. You can't do like that. You have to be wise. You have to be centered as to, it's okay. I mean, you need to pivot it. Something is not working clearly, and you're starving to death and all that. You don't need to do that, because in some cases there are families involved. There are kids, there are wives, there are mothers, there are fathers. You can't do this. You have to take responsibility. You can't put everybody into the deep dive situation you are. let them also dive with you, but just because you want to get into an entrepreneur. If it's not working, just pick up a job.
So I have a cross question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Paras, be
So
conscious about
basically,
be a last question.
Okay.
all right, sure.
Sorry.
So how is the valuation done? Like, suppose I have, let's say a lakh rupees per month.
Yeah.
So generally how it happens is that it is the net present value of the future cash flows that
Yeah.
is being considered as valuation.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but when I cannot predict what are my next year's revenues are, or if they are gonna be 100 times of what they are today, given my model. So, what is it that a CA consider, or a financial advisor or investment banker consider when valuing a company? Like, what is it in his asset sides that raises his value or his net worth of the company? Because there is no particular way of deciding that net worth, and also getting it certified by a CA will become equally challenging when there are no fixed.
See, actually, I'm of a different opinion here. Actually, CAs cannot do valuation because CAs are meant to do CA work. They do it in a traditional manner. There are people who are professionally able to do the valuation. Now, if you're having a revenue of 1 lakh this month, naturally, and if there is, you will see another lakh coming up next month. It's not that you will see no money coming next month with the same, or maybe a 2 lakh coming, a 3 lakh coming. So firstly, what market research have you done? What is your total addressable market? Who are your clients? What is there in the pipeline? Everything goes. Even though the revenue this month was only 1 lakh, but then there must be something that you can see for yourself what is coming up in the second month. You can't just sit with no money. It could be more, it could be same, it could be less, but there's something will come up with what you are selling or whatever is your product, and so on and so forth. So I think based on all that, the valuation is done. And also, like a standard, like if we know that this is going to VCs or this is going to angels, then based on that, a certain figure comes up wherein we calculate it, but we deep dive into the system. We just don't look at, okay, what was it this month? Was it self-funded before? Is that money burned? Did some angel put in the money? So is there a soft commitment coming in? There could be anything. So all those things are taken into consideration.
So just a follow-up question: what is the difference pre-money and post-money valuations? If you can just explain a bit.
Yeah. So different investors, they do come up with different kind of valuation systems. Some do pre-money, some do post-money. It all depends from investor to investor. So and what they are proposing. So then at that point, don't give the answer to them. Take that, go to somebody who is knowledgeable, sit, discuss, figure out things, whether you want to take it or you want to leave it, and then go to the next stage. Don't just really accept whatever they are saying. Also, I'm not saying that they are always right or the founders are always right, but you need to bring them have come on the same page. See, first thing is whether you want to get investments or no, or you just want to explore the idea and try it and see if it works or no. What happens is many founders, they back out when they get the term sheet because they get scared, or they get that, oh, what am I doing? Am I ready to take this risk or no? So firstly, are you a risk taker? Like, do you want to take the risk and jump into the system? I know one founder who is ready to tie up with a strategic investor in Dubai who's taking 50% stake, just because that investor is opening a larger market for him, till Bloomberg, till other stuff and all. So he wants to take that risk. He wants to take a dive. Now, what is your gut feeling? Do you want to take that risk? Do you want to go ahead? Do you want to take a chance? It all depends. So sometimes we do get scared because See, everything has consequences, and we all know, we are all adults here, right? Now, thinking of the consequences, sometimes we do worry, and then we take a wrong move, or we are too impulsive to take the move, okay, and then we jump into something, or we get too scared. So I think that's the difference here.
A very common approach in the West that they build startups to sell it later to the bigger guys or the bigger startups. So how does that happen? And like, what are the when we see Elon Musk or some who becomes like really cool in the entire startup world? So what are their parameters? Like, what is it that investors there look up to? Is it the flashiness of the person itself, or the charminess of the person, or what are the parameters there? And how much sane is this to build a startup only to sell it with a mission to sell it to a big guy?
Also, before you answer, Tolani, up to you. Do you wish to extend the session? Wish to extend?
I think I just want to answer Paras's question, because like, I'm at you guys' event. So let me just answer it, and then we can wrap it up and say bye to everybody. Yeah. So the thing is, see, what happens is everybody needs a backing, right? Now, if you look at yourself and you look left and you look right, you don't have backing of a family, you don't have backing of a friend. Then you see this huge backing coming from the investor. The investor is bringing this entire ecosystem for you, which will help you grow. Naturally, you will take it up, right or no? So, I mean, it's what kind of backing you want. It also depends on that. If you want that backing, then you would jump into it. So, investors have a network, a strong network. Investors have the money. Investors have the technology team, the marketing team. And if you don't have anything, naturally you would go for it. So that's the whole thing, explaining in short. We could wrap it up now as we are this thing. But I think that many of people in abroad registered for this event. They even sent me messages, but I don't know why it's showing only 9. So I'm pretty sad.
The reason is one of the also this is a new platform. Couple of people in the beginning joined, but there were some technical issues from their end. For some, the audio was not working. For some, something else, and because of that experience, they might have dropped out. But we are.
Do you want to try to do it on StreamYard? It straight away goes to YouTube and LinkedIn and everywhere, so you'll get a better reach. I mean, it's just my suggestion. StreamYard, everybody is using StreamYard nowadays. The moment you start StreamYard, automatically it goes to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere. You actually don't even have to record the session. It just gets recorded itself and the link gets displayed. I do a lot on StreamYard. So I have this particular show every Wednesday, my solo show, where I answer all the questions for startups. I give a topic for 30 minutes, and then I ask questions live. So anybody who wants to tune in, you can connect with me. It's my own show. It's every Wednesday for 30 minutes, 4:30 p.m. India time. Sometimes it goes 3 p.m. So we do post about it. So if you want to join that, also welcome. It's on StreamYard.
Right. And we would love to have your close. For that, thank you very much also to give us the life lessons as to the startup founders. And when it comes to fundraising, we are passionate. We are always running behind. The founder especially runs behind. But it's a family and it's a whole big, the whole, people are dependent on the founders. And that's how we need to be conscious, or the founders needs to be conscious how they're taking those decisions. And it is okay, the life brings many roadblocks in front of you, but that does not mean that you should stop. Navigate that space, And for that reason itself, Ms. Tolani is here to help the startup founders navigate that challenging times, and especially in this time, if someone is thinking about fundraising and thinking about what all should be done. And this is, and we are very privileged to have you for this. And it has been so enriching, especially for us and especially for the startup world, to hear your experiences, what how you're dealing with different startups, what they need to do. So your rich experience will definitely help and help the Indian ecosystem and the larger global ecosystem um, to be more equitable, more sustainable in terms of fundraising. And you founder could go wrong, where the founder could go down. And here you are, and your services are here for them to not go down and not to commit those mistakes which you have seen someone else. And that's where, in the end, would love that there are a couple of things, two things broadly. As one of the participants is writing that we saw that computers, but that trending thing.
Yeah.
To answer that thing is also, and we already know and you have already answered it, but we could close with that. The thing which investors are looking at this present moment. In your first webinar with us, you have mentioned this very specifically, and today as well. But we could and largely one simple question which everyone would be thinking about: which website to go for to do the. But that valuation, if you go do it on a website, that might not give a holistic picture to bits which Ms. Tolani does. But these are the two things where we could add on. Close the session today. Thank you.
Sure. So firstly, thank you very much for taking out your valuable and precious time and having this session and arranging this. It's a great effort. I'm happy to be here second time. And the thing is that we need to be positive. Whatever happens, if you are a positive person, I think you can reach the skies. When I came to India, people had given a lot of negative comments about me. I didn't focus on that. I just focused on achieving silently, and here is where I am today. So, so the thing is that I would recommend all of you to read the book Power of the Subconscious Mind. It will help you remain centered at all the time, and it is very, very important to remain centered. One thing. Second thing is, please believe in yourself. All of you are beautiful souls in your own way. You have your own talents, skills, positive things. We all are not perfect. Even I'm not like 100% perfect with everything. I could have my own flaws. So I think when you focus on what are your positives and not focus on your negatives, and stop comparing yourself with anybody. Just focus on your own productivity. Stop comparing your life with others and this one and that one. I think that takes one a very, very long way. When you just focus on yourself, your productivity, your stuff, and not focusing too much on what the others are doing, saying, but have a knowledge of everything what is going on around you. Read Forbes articles, read the Economic Times, read the latest technology that comes up. Go on these. There are very, very technical webinars that happen at night, especially on Clubhouse and these other platforms. Go do your networking, build up your skills, meet people, talk to them, and encourage each and everybody you meet. And if you think that it's like become a fashion thing to become an entrepreneur, so don't like just think that okay, this is the only thing that I can do, or maybe I should leave the job and do this. If your life is running good with a job, you're doing well, then continue with it. You don't need to break that and then do something so disruptive that your family suffers. But if you think that you have earned enough in the job, you have enough savings, you're starting your own thing and it's going to really work wonders, then go for it. Because you have to take wise decisions. Be centered, like I said, don't just do anything and everything just because others are doing. And stop comparing yourself. Believe in yourself. Read the book Power of the Subconscious Mind. To do valuations, my company does. You can reach out to me, but like I said, I do take nominal charges for that. We'll do it perfectly in the right manner for you. You'll be really satisfied with the services that we gave. There are many testimonials on my website, which speaks a lot about me. Please go and have a look. And that's all about it. I guess spoke too much.
Very much, Vandana. We are very glad to. And it's been a great session. We will look at the audience next time and much more or the finance or the fundraising. A wonderful session, and we thank you for the same. And we thanks for patiently listening and being a great audience. So thank you very much, and have a nice day.
And
Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Would like to mention that we have put Vandana Tolani LinkedIn profile in her website. Please have a look and reach out to her directly. I'd like to thank Paras for always having an enriching discussion with Ms. Tolani. Thank you very much, Paras.
Yeah, I like the questions. Yeah, so technical, so profound. And thank you, Pranjal. Also, your questions are equally good, and everybody is smiling here today, so that's really nice.
So, and I also like to acknowledge our team from Startup Grind. We have Atul here, Anand, and many others at the back end who are working tirelessly to make the event successful. So, thank you all
to them. Thank you, Atul. Thank you, all the others who made the event successful. And let's hope we can create more such events and impart knowledge. And I'm happy to give more insights next time as well. Thank you for having me here, and stay blessed, stay happy, stay strong, and feel free to reach out to me if I could be of any help to anybody.
Thank you. I will stop the recording to come online. We could do 5 minutes party session.
Okay, sure.